Hello everybody, how are you all doing today? Okay, I have a lot to talk about today. So I just read the ending of Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare and what the heck? Don't worry, I am not about to spoil the ending for you. I just had to get that out there. I'm going to do a non-spoiler section for this video first, but I'm just kind of like, I'm freaking out. That ending, it was just... Those of you who haven't read this book yet, wow, you are in for a treat. Get ready. Be prepared. So yes, today I am going to be talking to you guys about the absolutely miraculous, incredible, amazing Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Cassandra Clare, I'm convinced, is just some strange writing goddess because she, I think, really has a gift. Every time I sit down to read one of her books, I am just blown away by how sucked in I am into this colorful, vibrant, detailed world full of these complex characters and these layered plot lines and just so many details and things in these books that make them just feel so real to the readers. And those are really the best kind of books. You know, when you sit down and read a book, you want to feel as if you know these characters, as if you can imagine this plot happening right before your eyes. It really feels like the wait for this book was so excruciatingly long. After such a long wait, you begin to get a little bit nervous. Like, what if this book doesn't live up to my expectations? But I can definitely say that this book was not a disappointment. Thank goodness. It was amazing. I don't know why I ever doubted it. I am so excited about this book because I think that this is such a great start to her newest series. I am so looking forward to seeing what this series is going to entail because, guys, I think it's going to be crazy. This is Cassandra Clare and we know she doesn't play lightly when it comes to her books. No. She likes to play with our emotions, rip at our souls, all of that. Somehow I kind of enjoy it in like a weird way. Lady Midnight is the first book in Cassandra Clare's newest series and it takes place 5 years after the events of City of Heavenly Fire. It follows two characters, Julian Blackthorne and Emma Carstairs, who you might be familiar with if you read The Mortal Instrument. It follows the shadow hunters of the Los Angeles Institute. That is the very general gist of this plot, but that is really all you need to know. Trust me, the plot gets crazy once you get into this book. I don't want to spoil anything for you. A lot of you have been asking me if I would recommend that you read The Mortal Instruments or The Infernal Devices before you read this book, and my answer is yes. I don't think it's necessary to read both The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices before reading this. However, I would strongly recommend it. The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices are amazing books, and if you haven't read them yet, you should definitely read them. If you don't really want to read both of them, however, that's okay, and if you're trying to decide which of the two you should read, I would definitely recommend that you read The Mortal Instruments. Even though The Infernal Devices takes place before The Mortal Instruments, I think that reading The Mortal Instruments will benefit you a lot more for reading this book. A lot of the characters from The Mortal Instruments are in this book. There are many references, and also there are ginormous spoilers for The Mortal Instruments in this book. So before I go ahead and jump into the spoiler section of this review, I will just sum up this little section by saying that this book, you guys, was so good. I gave it 5 stars. If I could have, I would have given it 1,000,000 stars. I will say that I did not love this book as much as I love The Mortal Instruments, not because this book is not as good as The Mortal Instruments. I probably just have this opinion because I love The Mortal Instruments so fiercely. Let me tell you, this book comes very close. I am very impressed by how layered it is. The work that she put into this book is very clear. Everything about this book was just created and developed very thoroughly. Like all of Cassie's books, this book had so many different elements within it that just together make it so much fun. It was exciting, it was full of adventure, action, as always, suspense, as always, And then, of course, you know, there's always the laugh out loud humor that Cassie throws in her books that just has me cracking up and getting a lot of weird looks. Seriously, just read it. Read it. Read it, read it, read it, and then come back here and then watch the spoiler section and we'll talk. Yep, just do it. I just want to worship it. I think that it deserves all the love and all the stars. I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with it. I really am. Just, yep. Yep. Alright, so I am about to move on to the spoilers section of this video. So anybody who has not read this book yet and is planning to, click out of this video. Spoiler section is about to start in 3, 2, 1. Alright, so let's talk, shall we? We have a lot to talk about today. Yeah, so I just read the end of this book and what? I'm talking about that last page. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, like what? After everything that happened in this book, are you really gonna throw that at me? Right when I think that everything is resolved, you're just gonna throw that curveball at me? Like, really, Cassandra Clare? Really? I love you, but really? As much as I want to talk about the ending right now, I'm not going to start this off with the ending because that wouldn't make any sense. But trust me, we're going to get back to it and we're going to talk about it because I have a lot to say. So the characters in this book, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Probably, arguably, I would say the best part about this book. First, we have Emma and Julian. Emma, I love Emma. Emma kind of carries herself with more of this confident exterior, but then she has this total geek dorky side to her that is kind of similar to Clary, but at the same time they're totally different, which I really appreciated. I really didn't want Emma and Clary to be similar, but then I also love how Emma and Clary have this close relationship. I thought that was so cute because I think that their two personalities work really well together, and I love how Clary is kind of like this big sister to Emma. Also, I just love any incorporation of Clary into this book because I love Clary. She will always be one of my favorite female characters, and getting to see Clary again just makes my heart so happy. I want to figure out more about Emma. I want to know more about her. I think when it comes to Emma, we get to see a lot about her character as it relates to the Blackthorns and Julian and her parents, but we haven't really gotten to see that much about her. You know, it'll be really interesting to see her character really grow and come out more in the next books, and I'm really, really looking forward to that. Now on to Julian. It's just insane that someone so young can already be acting so mature. But then, you know, it's interesting because we have this mature side of Julian, but then we also see very immature sides of him, like how he acts with Emma. He still is very much a teenage boy who has no idea how he feels about girls. Julian is very, very different from the typical YA male. Julian is sensitive, he is kind, he's an artist, he's not a bad boy, he is not territorial or possessive towards Emma. He is not afraid to be in touch with his emotions. I mean, it's just really, really nice and refreshing. Moving on to Emma and Julian's relationship, because we need to talk about this. You know, there's just, of course, a slow burn buildup because that's what Cassandra Clare does. She creates two characters that are not supposed to be together and she just kills all of her readers in the process. Okay, so we have the scene in the car where Emma is practically straddling him as he is bleeding and almost dying. We're like, oh my god, Emma's like straddling him, and this is very kind of inappropriate, and this is also very intimate. And then we have this weird thing where Emma is able to heal him. Why would that happen? Well, we find out later, but let's not get onto that yet. Let's talk about the thing that Emma and Julian do where they like write on each other's arms. I cannot be the only one that was confused by this. All I could think was like, if somebody was writing letters on my arm, I would have no idea what they were trying to tell me. I've been trying it out on my arm and like I don't even understand myself. The entire book I was like, this is very impressive that they can do this. I just thought that was really weird but like cute at the same time. Let's talk about the beach, because we gotta talk about the beach. The beach scene. Okay, so am I the only one who didn't actually catch on to what really happened at the beach? Or am I just like that stupid? I mean, I knew that like stuff was going on and they were doing stuff. I didn't know that they like, you know, they did it until after that chapter, and then I was like, what? They literally had their first kiss and everything else like all on the same night, and I was just like, whoa, like way to throw everything on me at once. The sex comes before the relationship in this book. I really liked that Cassie Clare did that because It was very realistic, and that is something that could have happened in real life, but that we don't really see in most young adult books. Relationships are not perfect, and I just love how Cassie Clare does that with everything. She shows in all of her characters and all of the situations that her characters are in that people are not perfect. I love how Cassandra Clare has such a broad variety of characters, especially in this book. In this book, we have characters from all different backgrounds, different race, sexuality. We're seeing characters that represent mental illness. People are not perfect, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to be reading about only perfect people in books. I love all of the Blackthorns. I love Ty and Livy also. I can't wait for them to grow older, for them to mature, so that their characters just develop even more. Ty and Kit, that's gonna be a thing. I just know it. We all know it. And then we have another character coming into the mix, and I'm just gonna put this out there. This character that we're about to talk about, he is my favorite character of the book. Like, my favorite character of this entire book. Mark is just such a strange person, and at first I was like, this guy is so weird. Like, he makes no sense. He ends up being such a funny character, like, so great, so sweet, so complicated too. Like, his story and everything about him, like, is so sad. Yeah, I think I have a thing for Mark. I love Mark. Like, I love Julian, but Mark, I don't know, just something about him. I just really liked him, and I thought he was so cute. All of my favorite quotes from this book are said by Mark because I think he's funny, I think he's adorable, he's nice, guys, he's perfect. But then we have this weird romance going on with Mark and Christina and then Kieran. And I'm just like, I don't really ship Mark with Christina or Kieran. I kind of like Christina with Diego because I kind of feel like they fit more. I mean, I know Diego has messed up, but I think that he will redeem himself, and I think that Christina and Diego have a lot of history together and they just work better. Mark and Christina never really felt very right together to me. They just didn't really fit very well. Mark and Kieran, I will admit, have some fiery chemistry going on, and like that scene when we find out about them and he, you know, Kieran and Mark are like together, and you know, I was like, whoa, things just got real heated real fast. But I don't like Kieran. I can't forgive him for what he did with Emma and Julian getting whipped. That scene was so heartbreaking and so awful, like so terrible that happened, and I cannot forgive him for that because he knew what was going to happen and he was willing to let that happen. And I'm sorry, but if you really love somebody, you do not want to watch their family members get hurt. The fact that he was willing to watch Mark's family members be abused just so he could have Mark for himself is terrible, and I will never like somebody that thinks that's okay. I mean, that's just twisted. The fact that Emma took Julian's place, I think that just shows her potential for growing into what I think is going to be such a strong and badass character. Emma is fearless. But going back to Kieran's character and his relationship with Mark, I don't trust Kieran. I don't want Kieran with Mark. I don't want that to happen. I don't think it is going to happen. At least I really hope not, because I just feel like Kieran has kind of a dark and unhealthy attachment to Mark. I don't think that the love that Kieran feels for Mark is a healthy kind of love. When I think of Mark, I think of such a light, happy, sunshine-filled character, and I just feel like Kieran is this stormy gray cloud that is going to rain all over him and should have nothing to do with him because Mark deserves sunshine and rainbows and flowers. So no, no. Speaking of Mark, I wanted to read you guys some of my favorite quotes from this book because most of them are said by Mark. "I would take them in a bowl," said Mark with a winning gaze. "It has been many years since I have eaten freely at my choice, fair one, and a plate of strawberries is all that I desire." Mark, you could have just said, "I'd like some strawberries." "Why are you wearing a t-shirt under your other t-shirt?" Livy asked. "In case one of them is stolen," Mark said, as if it were entirely normal. Why is this a fear of his that somebody is going to steal his t-shirt? Like, why is this a big deal to him? Does that mean that, like, he layers his t-shirts every single day? What? "He bumped into a payphone and said, 'Excuse me, miss,' on our way in," said Julian. "It's polite to apologize," said Mark with the same small voice. "Not to inanimate objects," said Julian. Just imagining Mark bumping into a telephone and being like, "Oh, excuse me, miss." Alright, so I can't believe I haven't talked about this yet. The character that we have not talked about yet is Malcolm. Malcolm. Am I the only one that is devastated by the fact that Malcolm is evil? I know that Malcolm turned out to be evil, but I just never ended up hating him. I think he is a lot more complicated than any of us realize, and I would be very, very interested to find out more about Malcolm's history and read some stories purely about Malcolm. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't think that he's meant to be evil. I think that he just went off the deep end and kind of went crazy, and I think that that is making him seem evil. And okay, I'm not saying that he's not evil. Like, the stuff that he's doing is terrible. He's killed people, like, it's awful. He really loved this woman and he did all of this for love, and it's horrible and it's wrong, everything that he's done. The stuff that he's been through must have been so terrible to bring him to this point. I can't be the only one that feels this way about Malcolm. I just simply can't hold off any longer. We need to talk about the ending. Wow, were we thrown a lot right at the end after everything. Cassie Claire just decides to just throw the biggest curveballs right at our faces. Emma and Julian have this conversation that we've all been waiting for. They decide to work on their relationship, to embrace the love that they have for each other, and we are all rooting for them, and I'm like, yes, finally you guys have come to your senses. And then, of course, everything just crumbles and crashes and burns because Emma and Jem have this conversation, and Jem tells Emma about the horrible truth about why Parabatai can't be together, because if they do, then they will become power hungry because they bring out these terrible powers in each other and they will literally go crazy. So this is horrible. It's like Jason Clary all over again, because now we have this situation where these two characters want to be together, but they literally cannot be together because the consequences are simply too great. This is no longer a matter of, oh, let's just hide our relationship from the clave. Nobody has to find out. No, this is, if we are together, we'll literally go crazy. We will drive each other to insanity. Let me know if you have come up with any potential ways that you think they could work around this, because I have been racking my brain and I just cannot think of any way that we could possibly work around this situation. Like, what is the fix for this? There is not a fix. Of course, when Emma finds out this terrible information, she decides that the solution is to just crush Julian's heart into itty bitty pieces. And not only does she decide to crush his heart, she literally decides to bulldoze his heart and burn it and set it on fire and watch it explode. Like, poor Julian, I feel so bad for that poor boy. Everything in his life pretty much just sucks, and now it's about to suck a lot more. Emma comes up with a brilliant plan of her and Mark pretending to be in a relationship to, you know, just hit Julian with the final blow and make him hate her. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna hate her, and Christina's gonna hate her. They're all gonna hate Emma and Mark because it's gonna look like Emma and Mark are being so selfish for being together because they're hurting everybody else in the process. We have Emma and Mark now about to apparently start to pretend that they're in a relationship together, and here's the thing, you guys. I feel like I'm gonna have an unpopular opinion about this because I know that everybody is hardcore team Julian and Emma, and I am too. I love Julian and Emma. But then there's the part of me that just loves Mark and is kind of intrigued by this idea of Mark and Emma being a thing, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it crossed my mind like multiple times throughout this book. I couldn't help but think that that would be a very interesting relationship dynamic, and I really like the relationship dynamic between Emma and Mark. Is it bad that I kind of want it to be a thing? Like, I was kind of secretly happy that this might be a thing. I don't know if it's going to be a thing. That's the thing. Like, I would be really surprised if it actually did turn into a legitimate thing, because Emma is in love with Julian, Mark has feelings for Christina, and part of me is like, okay, Mark, like, are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what are you getting out of this? Like, part of me is afraid that Mark is just invested in this because he wants to make Christina jealous after he saw Christina with Perfect Diego. I don't see Emma and Mark developing feelings for each other yet, just because like they're so invested in their other romantic relationships right now, and like they have enough going on. But then there's the part of me that, I'm sorry, but you guys, like, so many of you are gonna be like, Sophie, what are you talking about? But like, I can't help it, I kind of ship it. Julian and Emma, it's very sweet. Mark and Emma, it's kind of like, ooh, like, what's going on here? They're both such adventurous souls. The thought of them together, I don't know, it just sounds very exciting. I mean, we've seen love triangles, we've seen love squares, but this is beyond a square. This is a pentagon. Honestly, all I care about is that my precious baby Mark is happy. Alright, so I have been talking for who knows how long, so I am going to finish things up. But let's just say that I am still very angry about the ending. I don't know how I feel. I don't know what's going to happen. My mind is just spinning, and the fact that we have to wait an entire year for Lord of Shadows to come out is just so excruciatingly horrible. Sandra Claire, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to us? All of us. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I love Emma and Julian. I love Emma and Mark. I don't know. Guys, I don't know. Here I go again. I'm going off again. Hope that you guys enjoyed me rambling and my craziness. What I want is, I want to hear everything that you guys thought about this book. Everybody go ahead and start commenting down in the comments below. I can't wait to read your comments and talk to you guys about this, because I just have been dying to talk to you guys about this. So let's just get this conversation started. Also, just for fun, if any of you guys have some predictions of what you think might happen in Lord of Shadows, if you have any special theories that you would like to share, go ahead and post those in the comments below also, because I would be very interested to hear those. I'm always really interested to hear people's theories. So go ahead and just post whatever you guys want in the comments. This is your time. All the theories, all the emotions, all the thoughts, just it can all go in the comments. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed rambling and talking about everything. If you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I hope that you guys all go and have yourselves an absolutely fabulous day, and I will see you guys next time.